My name is Tim Grien. I'm the president and CEO of Walbar Engine Components. So Walbar is an independent manufacturer of turbine engine components, and we focus almost purely on servicing the OEMs. The transformation we were going through started about 3 years ago when we acquired the business from United Technologies. At the time, sales, over the preceding 4 years, sales had dropped precipitously from 80 million down to 50 million. The company was in a steep loss-making position, and the customer confidence was at an all-time low, in fact driving most of them to either terminate or threaten to terminate the contracts. So we capitalized the business for success at close, meaning zero debt, enough cash to get us through what would probably be a difficult time. Second, we tried to bring the team together to create alignment and a common interest in helping the business succeed. I'll tell you, the biggest challenges were the level of uncertainty we had the first day we were there. As I mentioned to you, the seller didn't let us talk to any employees or interact with any customer before we owned it. So that first day on the job, as we're trying to establish ourselves, we had to call all the customers and say, by the way, we're the new owners. We had every argument to step in on day one 3 years ago and fire 50 people. But I said, let's not do that. Let's endure the first year. Hopefully, we'll start to set in place the culture where the poor performers will leave, and we'll be able to replace them with better performers. So overall, we've tried to create an environment, a performance-driven culture where people want to work and where people are rewarded when the company does well. And part of that was establishing 3 key principles or priorities. I'm not going to make any change if it risks employee health and safety. I'm not going to make any change if it compromises quality and delivery. In 3 years, we've been completely consistent. We haven't made any cost cutting, and we stepped into a horrible situation. We haven't done any headcount reductions, focused on cost reduction. We haven't done any, inventory, paring back of inventory just to, preserve cash. We've done exactly what we said we were going to do, and that's really resonated with the customers. The transformation actually happened quicker than I would have thought. The team was competent. Just unfortunately, they weren't given the tools and the information they needed preceding years. Really, it was building a team, understanding what we had, and trying to slowly tackle things that could make an improvement right out of the gates. We were able to pretty much partner up pretty quick, start to communicate properly, focus on the right KPIs or key performance indicators, and we were able to turn it around much quicker than I would have thought. And part of it is making sure you're speaking the right language, people understand how they individually can affect the outcome, and then hopefully putting some incentive along the way to create an extra carrot. We've implemented something called the EO system, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and we followed that pretty closely. So every 90 days we get the senior management team outside the plant. We go through checking in what our 3-year strategic plan is, and it's been really effective. It helps focus people on the highest priority items. I'd say first, get direct alignment with your senior management team and make sure you have the right people in the right seats. I think second, focus on a small number of key performance indicators that can actually drive financial performance. We had classes with the operations team. We had classes where we were making sure everybody understood specifically what productivity meant with regard to that operator showing up at that machine to run on any given day. The third thing is trying to pick your battles. There was a lot of noise in year one. I could have every day. I could have gone crazy every day thinking about all the stuff that we weren't able to focus on. But I think setting key priorities, and one of our philosophies is for each individual member of the senior management team, I want them to have 3 main priorities over every 90 days. It's a much more performance-driven culture today than it was back in the day. And I believe the general mood down in Wymus 3 years ago, people didn't talk really highly about working in Walbar. Today we're the fastest growing and one of the most coveted places to work.